Hey everybody, Duke here with a quick video on calibrating a non-Dshot ESC with Arduplane. I have a document up here that I'm having you follow in class that is talking about this exact process. So step number 18 is basically what we're going to do in this video. And this process is just sometimes a little bit hard to talk through with words. It's nice to just show it, so I figured I'd make a quick video to show you how to do this. What we have on the table here is basically the plane. Of course, mine's not fully installed in the plane and everything. My flight controller's out here on the table, but yours will probably be installed in the plane. Just so you know what's going on here, though, I have my USB breakout board run off here to the top, connected to the computer. GPS doesn't really matter for this, but it's over here to the side. I have my transmitter and my receiver, and they are bound together, so we've already done that binding process. And I have a battery powering to deliver battery power to the ESC and everything here. And that's just using this little smoke stopper here, so I can toggle the battery power on and off with a little button. That is plugged into the flight controller, and then we have our ESC plugged into the flight controller as well on one of the ESC leads. And the servo lead from the ESC itself is coming over to channel 3, which is the default channel for throttle in Arduplane. So that's our bench setup here. I'm going to try to show you this whole process both in Mission Planner on the bench. We're still learning some OBS skills here, so we'll do our best. But basically, our first couple steps here I've already done. I've turned on my transmitter and plugged in my USB cable to the flight controller. And I'm going to go ahead and connect to Mission Planner now. So we'll go down to Mission Planner. Okay, should be getting all this. Good. Mission Planner is connected, so you'd pick your COM port. Let's go ahead and disconnect. Pick your COM port, 115.200 for USB connection, and then hit connect there. And while it's connecting, what we're doing today is an ESC calibration. That's basically letting the ESC know what our zero throttle is and what our full throttle is on our transmitter. And the reason why this is a little bit more complex than it normally is because we have the flight controller kind of in the middle of the system. So we have to do this in such a way the flight controller doesn't interrupt or block our signals going through, and the ESC still gets that high and low, which is what we want. If you have a Dshot ESC, which are really nice, I just don't happen to have one with this plane, then you don't need to calibrate at all, so you don't have to do this process. This is only for non-Dshot ESCs, PWM ESCs, I guess you would say more specifically. So once we have that set up and everything's on the table ready to go, you have a battery ready and stuff, we're going to go over here to our Actions tab. And we're going to click on this drop down here where next to where it says Set Mode. We're going to find Manual Mode. I'm going to say Set Mode. Mine's already in manual, but you would change your mode to manual if you weren't in manual mode. And then the next part of the process here I'm going to talk through before I actually do it so you can understand it's kind of a quick process. I have to do it relatively quickly for it to work. And that's because there's only a limited time frame where I can do this without the flight controller then saying, hey, wait, I'm going to block those signals because we're in fail-safe or something else is going on. And so if we talk through it first, I think that'll help. Once I hit the arm disarm button here, it's going to ask me if I want to force arm the aircraft. That's okay, it's on the bench, there's no propeller installed, so we're going to do that force arm process. Once I hit force arm, I'm then going to raise the throttle on my transmitter to maximum. I'll then press a button here which will deliver the battery power to the flight controller and to the ESC. So right now yellow LED is not powered. When I press the button it'll be green, it'll be powered. Once the ESC gets that power and has the high throttle signal, it will go into calibration mode, and it will take that as the high throttle, and after the series of beep tones, I'll then lower the throttle to 0, and it will take that as my 0 throttle, and then it will finish its calibration and give us kind of a finishing beep tone sequence. So that's the process there. Once that finishing tone happens, then you're all done. If you don't do it fast enough, it's not like a huge deal. You just have to start over. So you're not going to mess anything up here. You just need to do it relatively quickly before the autopilot flight controller disarms itself and blocks things and won't allow the signal to go through like we want it to. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and switch over to our document camera for a second so I can get the other microphone in here as well. So I apologize for the OBS back and forth stuff. My voice will probably sound more echoey now. I'm going to go ahead and hit force arm. Okay. We're then going to raise throttle to full, turn the battery on. First set of tones, 0 throttle. That was the second set of tones followed by kind of our finishing tone. And now we can move the throttle up a little bit and the motor will spin. And move back down and it stops at 0, which is the important part for safety. If I go to full throttle right now, it'll trip the circuit breaker basically in this small smoke stopper, so I'm not going to do that. But I hope that process makes sense. Turn off the overhead mic again. Hope that process makes sense. And again, if you get stuck and it doesn't work, it's probably just because you didn't go quite fast enough. I think you have about like 10 seconds or so to do that process. Just start over. It's okay. It's not going to hurt anything. That should calibrate the ESC on your Arduplane vehicle so you have appropriate throttle control. All right. Thanks for watching.